JJ's Sideout Bar and Grill, the Burger Bar and Grill, Ringer Sports Bar and Grill, Nowhere Bar and Grill, or Louis Cafe. So join me weekdays for Denny's Diner at 6:50 a.m. on the Morning Mayhem for your chance to win here on 96.7 The Eagle.
From HometownNewsNow.com, this is Update News on 96.7 The Eagle. Welcome to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle, LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. For the next 30 minutes, we invite you to be part of the conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. My name is Nate Laux, and you're listening to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. Joining me on the show today for his monthly foray into the Sound Off hot seat is Mayor Tom Dermody. If you have questions for Mayor Dermody, shoot us a text, call, or email. You can call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email soundoff@967theeagle.com. But first, it's time for On This Day in History. It was on this day on August 27th, 1776, that British forces defeated the American troops led by General George Washington at the Battle of Long Island in what is now called Brooklyn, New York. Earlier in the week, British General William Howe's large army landed on Long Island, hoping to capture New York City and control the Hudson River. The intention was to divide the American colonies in half and conquer each half strategically. And in fact, the 20,000-strong British armies marched against the 10,000-strong Continental Army and outflanked them. After seeing what was happening, General George Washington commanded his troops to retreat by boat, saving many soldiers from capture. Ultimately, at the Battle of Brooklyn, the Americans suffered 1,000 casualties to the British loss of only 400 men. On September 15th, the British captured New York City. This deadly battle was another reminder to Washington that there would be no easy victory and that the war would be long and bloody. It serves as a reminder to us today that just because the days or months seem long or complicated, or you get tired because it seems like it continues to go on and on and on, it doesn't mean that there's not the possibility for better days ahead, as there were for America and George Washington and the early patriots. So keep moving, and so we do here on Sound Off. Let's get to our guest. Joining me on today's show is newly elected Hall of Famer, Mayor Tom Dermody. Can I call you Hoffer? How are you, Hoffer?
I get called a lot of things, and no, it was an honor, and thank you very much. Great to see teammates, coaches, and sports and competitiveness are something that I think is missed these days, especially with the competitiveness and being allowed to play 3 sports back then. I think we miss out, and kids miss out. Focused on one sport as well these days. But thank you. I love LaPorte, and it was great to see everybody and take a break from being mayor for a couple hours and stand next to my brother and make sure he knew that I was better than he was.
I was going to say, I saw a lot of pictures coming from that event, and I saw you standing by your brother. And does it ever make you feel insecure knowing that your brother, my former principal, is so much better looking than you?
Wow, then we're all in trouble if that's the case. But God love him, he was my idol growing up and taught me so many good things, probably a few bad things. And congratulations to that whole team and group.
All right, let's get into some questions. Again, if you have a question for Mayor Dermody, call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email us at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Let's get into a first one here. Let's talk about the Tipton Street Overpass.
Yes.
The city, in cooperation with the railroad, is planning on building a bridge over Tipton Street to help ease traffic patterns and allow for another transfer over the tracks without getting stopped by one of the dozens and dozens of trains that comes through the city each day. I know you had a meeting about that this week. I watched it online. Thank you so much for putting those online. How did it go? Do you want to explain that project to listeners a little bit and where the city stands on that?
Sure. And this project somewhat started before I took office, but as you look, finding options for people to be able to cross without having to wait for a train. In fact, Chief Breton really kind of put out there of our police department and said, the tough part is on the east side, we have an officer in a struggle or something going on. When we have the backup team, backup officers can't cross because of those trains. And we have how many a day? 80, how many ever that is. And, when you look at the Tipton Street data and something, and I didn't bring it with me today, people asking about, well, you're closing Pulaski, you're closing Detroit. And looking at that and the accidents that have happened over the past X amount of years, including 5 deaths, I think, at one, 7 at the other, 33 somewhere accidents, which is a lot for a rail road to have to deal with. And why wouldn't you want that crossing? I always prefer to cross when you don't have to wait on a train or come in to engage with a train. And the other part of that, Nick Minnick has done a great job working with the federal government, where they will be paying the majority of this improvement. And then, I think it'll be something good for the people as we continue to move forward.
So why does the railroad want this project to happen as well?
Well, anytime they can avoid having cars that they have to engage with coming across, when they see these accidents, the amount of accidents over the years, and be glad to share that at the next council meeting, they want to be able to ride smoothly and have less crossings to go through when they go through a community.
And I know in that meeting they talked about quiet zones, things like this. This is not a quiet zone plan. However, the overpass would allow potentially a quiet zone to happen in that area. So for the residents and the businesses that, like me, I've got a lot of things over there, a lot of projects, and when a train comes through, your heart gets, a little bit, it jumps from you a little bit.
It wakes you up.
Yeah, it does. Certainly does. Or it just gives you a lot of anxiety. But the idea would be to maybe take a couple of those crossings out, correct? And so there wouldn't be the need for as much train, noises and train traffic noise in the future, correct?
Correct. As well, though, we're also looking at a quiet zone, from a hospital perspective. We have this new hospital, and you've got the train coming right along there. I know they would like to see something happen with the quiet zone. We've worked with a engineering firm about the process, because I think that would benefit everybody to have a quiet zone.
All right. Well, let's get to our first question. Thanks so much for calling. Hey, thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Glad to have you on the show today. What's your question for Mayor Dermody?
Good afternoon, Mayor. Thanks for coming on the air.
Steve Hollifield.
Good, sir. How are you today?
Good, buddy.
Hey, 2 quick questions. One, there's a lot of activity on Monroe Street for survey stakes and utility location. What's happening there? The other one, I don't think I'm going to be able to make Thursday's meeting about the bypass. Can we go and leave online comments for that? Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Let's go to number 2 first. That's a LEAP event. They do it quarterly for their members. It's not a city meeting. We've just been asked, like we do at Rotary, Kiwanis, or anywhere else, to talk about, concepts, ideas. And I think it's important to talk about not the easy stuff, but the difficult, maybe the controversial things. And so I encourage LEAP, I encourage all the different groups and organizations to talk about not the rubber stamp stuff, but hey, let's have discussion, whether it's about reforming local units of government, about the corridor. And so that meeting will be available online. And I believe, yes, you'll be able to message questions. But if you have questions, email me right now that you want to make sure you want addressed, you want answered, so that the people can answer them there. My cell is 363-7293. You can even text me those questions. The first one, Monroe, I assume just north of the YMCA you're talking about, and that's the 701 Maple, the work that's going to, as they improve 701 Maple and put $1.8 million into those apartments because we want people living in humane conditions. And then the process of demolition of the two homes, which have been a struggle legally with law enforcement, both of them. And I know there's some support to keep the colored home there up. But, hey, if somebody wants it, bring a trailer, move it to where they want it. It's horrible inside. I ask anybody to come take a peek in there. But if somebody wants it, hey, move it along. But it's been available for 6 years, and just because it's now being demolition now, people want to stop it. And to me, that's progress. We need parking. If you look at new apartment complexes anywhere in construction, parking has to be a part of that. So hopefully that answers the construction on Monroe.
Let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. You've been increasingly vocal about the need for LaPorte citizens to get vaccinated for COVID-19. I saw a video that you did recently with Sheriff Boyd on there, who contracted COVID-19, but was vaccinated and believe his symptoms were probably lesser because he was vaccinated, correct? So you've been vocal about this. I've been in meetings with you before, and you've privately, publicly encouraging that. So how is your campaign for vaccinations going? Why is this such an important thing for you?
Well, I think if we're going to live our lives in somewhat of a normal way and be able to continue to do things, to me, as I've told people, you can put whatever you want in my arm. I just don't want to wear a mask again. That I really said you can, however often, and I'm not sure I understand why people truly, unless it's a medical or religious reason, why they can't be vaccinated, why they don't, when there's so many other vaccinations. We've had this one just FDA approved. I'm not going to get into the political of either side, but I just want the community. And I've seen people that haven't been vaccinated and what they've gone through, and trying to provide as many options, possibilities for people that need to go, would like to know and don't know where to turn. We want to be a resource for that as we move forward. And again, I've seen what's happened. And so I have a right to my opinion as an individual and as mayor, trying to promote, hey, if you have questions, concerns, how can we help connect those answers to you so that you feel comfortable? But again, the last thing you want to do is overwhelm our healthcare system. And, you know, I talked about yesterday, hey, maybe the people that are not vaccinated should maybe just shut them out from the hospital. Fine, you don't want to get vaccinated, stay home and deal with this because it's bad news. And then people will say, well, I got vaccinated, I got sick. Well, think about what you would be like if you weren't vaccinated. And I think Sheriff Boyd was a perfect example of, hey, I'm vaccinated, you know, hearing from medical professionals or anybody else what it would be like if you weren't. And I've seen the struggles, and I don't wish that upon anybody. And hopefully we'll get there with education, with approvals, and be able to answer questions. But again, I'm not taking personal shots. I'm just trying to provide as much opportunity for people to be vaccinated and understand what that means moving forward.
Well, we're going to take our first break on the show today. We've got Mayor Tom Dermody with us in the studio. If you have any questions for Mayor Dermody, shoot us a text, call, or email, or Hoffer, as I like to call you, Hall of Famer. Call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522, or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. I'd be happy to ask him the question for you. We're going to take a really quick break. Keep it right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hi, this is Michael Morrison with the New York Blower Company. The New York Blower Company has been in business for more than 132 years, and we are continuing to expand products and services worldwide. We are an industry leader in manufacturing premium quality engineered fans and blowers to the marketplace. If you have welding and production experience, I would like to personally invite you to apply for our available positions. We offer a complete benefits package with competitive wages. Come see what sets us apart from the rest. Visit nyb.com or visit us on Facebook to apply today.
Save today on your next project with 11% off everything now at Menards. Nobody has more pretty paintbrushes, rollers, and accessories than Menards. With more than 150 products in stock. Start your next project today and get 11% off all Purdy painting accessories. Get 11% off everything right now at Menards. Good through Saturday, August 28th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. Très-Bien is French for the best, and at Très-Bien CBD, that's exactly what you'll get. Très-Bien CBD products are as good or better than any other CBD products on the market. Now, the difference is cost. They offer the lowest prices and the highest quality products. Très-Bien CBD now has Delta 8 products in gummies, cartridges, disposables, and tincture. They're open 7 days a week, and a certified consultant will help you find the right product for your specific needs. Visit Très-Bien, that's Tresbien CBD.com, or stop by 1410 Franklin Street in Michigan City.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lisa Booth at Hero Pet Animal Hospital. We are all about celebrating your pets as the heroes that they truly are. That's why we are supporting the Country Critter of the Week from LaPorte County Animal Shelter. We are excited to announce that we are now open, located at the corner of Highway 421 and Route 2 across from the McDonald's. We are a full-service veterinary hospital open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. Please call us at 219-515-4376 to schedule an appointment. Or if you need to see a doctor right away, we also offer walk-in services.
If you're not already banking at Grand Heritage Federal Credit Union, you may be wondering what the differences are between us and others, like banks. Come in today and let us show you how you can put more money in your pocket by banking with Grand Heritage, a credit union, like free checking, Christmas clubs, auto loans as low as 2.74% with terms up to 84 months, Visa credit card with low fixed rate of 9.95% with no annual fees, children's accounts with no fees and no minimum balances, just to name a few of our services. For your convenience, we also have 3,000 plus shared branches, not only in Indiana, but across the United States. And when you call, you get a real person on the line, not some automation. Stop in today. Start benefiting as others have with Grand Heritage, here locally since 1964 at 201 Kumler Drive, LaPorte. Your money is federally insured by NCUA at Grand Heritage Federal Credit Union.
Michiana weather. We'll stay with a mix of clouds and sunshine this afternoon. An isolated storm chance late with highs up near 90. For tonight, partly cloudy with a slight chance for a storm, 71. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Frombley. Right now, 82.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Ball on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. You are listening to Sound Off. I'm Nate Laux, and in the studio with me today, we've got the mayor of LaPorte, Indiana, Thomas Dermody, recent Hall of Fame inductee. Glad to have you on the show, Mayor. A couple questions we have for you here that have come in through the text line. What's up with the Don George building?
That was put out to rebid. You know, legally there's a process, and when it didn't meet the average of 2 appraisals, we had to put it back out to bid, and that should be coming up here again in September, and it can't come fast enough to get something going there.
Are you hoping that there's some movement in that building or in that area there, or at least, you know, maybe some demolition or something before wintertime?
That's my goal.
Okay. All right. So if not, because I know there have been some concerns online and things like this about the roof coming in and how it's unsafe. They've seen some kids getting in there, these kind of things. So that will be dealt with before another year then?
As long as we get something in September. But Jeff Batchelor, if we don't get something of quality to be done there, at least to secure it
Are you going to
safely.
release Jeff on it then?
Well, Jeff will be on all over. He's already been all over us.
All right. Let's get to our caller. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your question or comment for Mayor Dermody?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say go White Sox. And I got a question. If you ever get to be governor, which you probably will, you going to name the high school after you? You think they will?
I like LaPorte.
What are you laughing at?
I like LaPorte High School and the Slicers just like it is. So I'm orange and black all the way.
Is he breaking news here? Are you running for governor? I want to put this out here to the breaking news here.
You got to listen to my press manager here.
All right,
thank you.
A question we received here: what is the cost difference between an overpass versus an underpass like we have on the west side of town?
An underpass.
So
you mean
like
under
over
First
so
Street.
you drive underneath the train instead.
I can't say, and again, that's more of an engineering question of what that cost is.
I'll bring Nick Minnick on the show here in a couple of weeks.
And he will be able to address it. But again, I'm not sure that the federal government will pay for it like they are with this one.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people haven't maybe fully conceptualized is that the railroad and the federal government is handling a lot of this, and so they're a key stakeholder in what actually gets to happen, right? The city doesn't get to determine everything that happens in this project, right?
Correct. I mean, if there's something that impedes the process of a rail coming through, they have a right based on federal law, and we just had one of the rail companies in this week because we were unhappy of their maintenance of how long our rail line, how it looks, get the weeds down. Again, Jeff Batchelor, myself, Bert Cook, Nick Otis, we had everybody along going, hey, LaPorte, and I've said this about Brighton and Hines Street, as you see all those cars, trucks, everything that's been stored there is, hey, we are no longer the dumping ground. We have pride in our community, and we expect everybody, and I know the big bad rail yard and railroad, we're supposed to just roll over, and I know a lot of communities have struggled with them, but hey, us against the world. I've said that a few times, and we'll battle them, but this is our community, and they got to follow the rules everybody else does.
And I want to go on record to say I am in favor of the Jim Dermody Memorial High School. So, all right, another question we received here. You talk about the importance of COVID-19 vaccines, but a good portion of LaPorte County can't get vaccinated. Our kids, yet the school system refuses to mandate or encourage masks. Now, one in my child's class wears a mask, except my daughter. Do you think the schools should be doing more to stop the spread of COVID-19 in our community?
Well, I think the school board and the leadership team from the schools, I mean, we have no authority over them, and that's what they were elected to do. And, I think we have to keep everybody as safe as possible. And I'll look forward to, hopefully, maybe very soon that younger age kids will be able to get vaccinated.
All right, let's get to another caller. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your question or comment for Mayor Tom Dermody?
Well, my it's a question about maybe a relative in your family. Did your brother play for the LaPorte Sportsmen baseball team in the 70s, 73?
He and I both had the honor in 70s and then the late 80s of playing for the one and only Pete Ford, who we love, manager of the LaPorte Sportsmen. It's such a shame that college baseball guys don't have a place to play in LaPorte anymore.
Well, because my question is, on August 17th, 1973, it was Ernie Banks night, and I have the program from that night. I went to that game, and I got Ernie Banks' autograph, and I believe it shows a Jim Dermody. Would that be your brother?
That would be my brother, and in fact, I'll tell you, it was at Ames Field in Michigan City. Kevin Ford and I were bat boys, and I still say we were up on the ledge on Ames Field, and I still tell the story. I think Kevin pushed me, but I fell off the ledge there at Ames, and I cracked my head on one of the benches down on the field because we were the bat boys back then, and I got to spend my time getting stitches at the hospital.
We've got a question here from our Facebook live stream. Are they ever going to finish the sidewalks? I've been on a waiting list for over 10 years, so they say. We live on Wabash Avenue. So where's the sidewalk? Is there a plan, or can people check in and say these are the sidewalks that we're looking to get to this year or in the next 2 years, kind of?
Well, and again, we have roughly $20 million worth of sidewalk repair. The court system has basically afforded us to say you have to spend at least $50,000 a year on sidewalks. We don't have a good plan for the future financially how to fund this. Because as you can see, there are plenty of sidewalks that need to be done. There is a small list currently because we also have roads at about $30 million or more, and that's our focus right now is how can we do more quality roads for the people of LaPorte, but sidewalks does not go unnoticed. If you want to text me 363-7293, and I'll be glad to get you an update based on when you were promised, but I wish I had a plan that we could afford to do them all today.
All right, we've got Mayor Tom Dermody on the show. The Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. Let's get to our next caller. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your question for Mayor Tom Dermody?
My question is, first of all, with your COVID education, that is awesome that you're going to do that for people if they can do it. Second, my question really is, when a child, let's say, is in the womb of the mother at 6 months, or say 2 months, and gets hit by a drunk driver and is killed, it's murdered. can we educate when the child gets aborted at 2 months for both the donor, the mother, and the father are both responsible? Can we throw that along in with the COVID testing education so that everybody knows the result to the baby, I think, is the same in both ways? If they maybe understand that along with the COVID testing, maybe that might help. I'm just hoping you could do that.
All right, thanks
you.
so much for calling. All right, Mayor Dermody, any response?
No, thank you. Obviously, there are a lot of focuses these days. You know, you talk about budgeting, you talk about what we just heard there, you talk about COVID, you talk about police and fire. When we talk about police, you know, right now there are over I want to say it was over 200 officers they're looking for in South Bend, offering $5,000 signing bonus after 18 months with pay much higher than what we can afford in LaPorte. Now, obviously, in my opinion, who wants to go to South Bend and keep people safe?
I'm a former South Bend resident of 10 years.
That's why you're here, though. And, you know, so we have to, with all of our staffs, all of our departments, pay a competitive, good wage and then expect quality in return for that, as well as being reviewed annually based on that. So we're trying to change things. I don't want to say like a business, but focusing on responsibility, accountability, and quality.
All right, one more question before our next break. This is from our text line here. To Mayor Dermody, who takes care of our alleys? 400 Block Grove Street alley is horrible. Massive craters, potholes. I invite you to drive through. It needs to be dealt with. Thanks, Mayor Dermody. Please drive through.
So I've been on Grove Street many times here, especially over the last couple months with police, with Jeff Batchelor and code enforcement, and we're trying to get Grove Street in line. And again, when the city was responsible with the trash and having the cans for and all intents and purposes put in the alley, we were responsible for those. Before my term, when that that responsibility ended, and really the alleyways became not the city's responsibility as well. But there are some alleys we try to help out with and do. But again, on the priority list, I agree. There's probably some very bad alleys. If you see me on Grove Street, I'll take a drive through. We've been driving through a lot of that area, and we know there's some tough roads and streets.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, our final break of the day. If you have a question or a comment, we've got a lot of them to get caught up on, but there's still time. You're welcome to call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right there on 96.7 The Eagle.
And now, an angry chicken talks about football at Wings Etc.
In this crazy, madcap world, we all need something to believe in. No worries, friend. Leave your troubles at the door of any Wings Etc. grill and pub. Walk into a brand new football season, get some wings or an amazing new double-stacked crispy grilled diner burger, order an ice-cold beverage, settle into the non-corporate surroundings of wood paneling and funny restroom posters and big flat screens serving up NFL Sunday ticket. You are home, friend. You are at your locally owned sports bar. You are not alone. You are loved. That's right, loved. At the end of the day, that's what we're about. Good food, great times, love. Who can't rally around that, friends? Football is back. Come get some love at Wings Etc.
Wings Etc. Grill and Pub with 14 Michiana area locations. Get menus, maps, and more at wingsetc.com and order online at togo.wingsetc.com.
Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Contact the offices today at Swanson Center to set up your appointment, either virtual or in person, with our mental health professionals. In Michigan City, call 219-879-4621, or in LaPorte, call 219-362-2145. Swanson Center, serving the mental and behavioral health needs of LaPorte County since 1969.
The new Delta variant of COVID-19 is highly infectious. If you're unvaccinated, your chances of spending time in a hospital or dying are high. But a vaccination can help your body battle the infection, keeping you out of the hospital or saving your life. Give yourself a fighting chance. Get your COVID-19 vaccination today. Learn more at ourshot.in.gov. A message from the Indiana Department of Health.
Look at all the things I've collected over the years in here, Dave.
Why, Dad?
So you'll have many things to remember me by, and, I'm sure you can use it all someday.
But, Dad, I can't use all these things.
Yeah, but just think, it's all yours someday.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Dad. Is that a bumper I see buried with this stuff?
Oh, hey, I believe it's your mom's 1976 Pinto. And again, it's going to be yours someday.
Do you have things you don't need or want anymore? Are you tired of seeing things that you thought was a good idea to buy and then turn around and put it away in some corner of your garage? Well, you're in luck. At 96.7 The Eagle, we can help by reading your garage, rummage, estate, or yard sale during Tradio. All you need to do is visit hometownnewsnow.com, click on the Submit tab, and fill out the form, and we'll contact you for the payment. It's that simple. Of course, we do accept debit and credit cards for payment. So listen weekdays at 9:45 for your sale to be read live on 96.7 The Eagle, and check out the listings at hometownnewsnow.com.
Summer is here, and it's time for some good old family fun. 96.7 The Eagle, your home for country music variety, wants to help make this summer fun for the whole family. Listen every Ticket Tuesday for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the South Bend Cubs, Deep River Water Park, or Indiana Beach Amusement Park. It's Ticket Tuesday all summer long, brought to you by LaPorte Community Federal Credit Union and Travian CBD. Listen for the cue to call every Ticket Tuesday on 96.7 The Eagle.
We're waiting to hear from you. Dial or text 362-0522 and let us know what you think. That's 362-0522. Back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. My name's Nate Laux. You are listening to Sound Off, and we have Mayor Tom Dermody in the studio with us, and we're asking your questions and my questions to the mayor to have him on. He has requested to have an hour-long show, but we're only giving him about 30 to 35 minutes, so he needs to really land the plane on some of these answers that he's given. So let's get to our caller here on the phones. Thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your question for Mayor Dermody?
Yeah, hello. I have a question about on Philadelphia and East Lincoln Way. It's a car lot, County Motors or something. It's a junkyard. Who's going to buy a truck with no hood, trucks with no doors, and everything's full of junk over there? And people come from South Bend area, come into town, that's the first thing they see on the left-hand side.
And thank you. And we have a process, and Jeff Batchelor, Code Enforcement, was in fact there just this past week. So we understand that. We are on it. And I think you're seeing some movement forward on cleaning that area up and a few others coming along Lincoln Way. And then as well, if I can just ask, because I saw the answer on the other question, I'm not trying to dance around an answer. I'm not sure which one that was. I've said if it's the vaccination or masks, I've said my goal is and focus is vaccinating, so I don't have to wear the mask. I thought I was clear there. And then number two, on the abortion issue, we all have our feelings. I have no authority on that. I do have authority to help people and address from the COVID perspective. I've been pro-life all my life, but again, this is something that from a COVID perspective is our priority.
Here's a comment online on our Facebook feed from Council President Randy Novak. When is the final coat of paint going on the bridge? The primer orange cannot be the final color.
Oh, coming from a Red Devil or something, that orange is staying orange. I still haven't seen Ghost Slicers or something up there as well, but I should have worn blue after New Prairie. I got a couple hits. I know.
I'm
Pastor Louds
I'm a New Prairie graduate.
I know,
so
I said I should have worn blue for him because after last Friday, but we're off to a fresh start this week. But congratulations to New Prairie and those fans that and supporters that live in the city of LaPorte.
Yeah, my kids are slicers, so I've got to be a slicer now. Hey, a question we've received here. Do you ever plan on finishing paving Boyd Boulevard?
Yes, that's a federal project. Nick Minnick is doing that. The southern portion of that will be done, and it's expected to be done still yet this year.
Okay, great. We have, if you've got a question for Mayor Dermody, we've got about 8 minutes left. 219-362-0522. I'd be happy to ask him a question for you. Here's one we received on our text line. Why are you so big on a wasteful bypass when that is not going to take any traffic off of Lincoln Way, when the majority of the truck traffic, with what little it is local deliveries?
Well, and again, you can look at you can sit out at 4 o'clock and watch. And again, you're welcome to call me. A corridor. And again, people say, well, look at Kokomo. Look at this. Well, Kokomo, their downtown businesses have increased. 50% of them have increased by more than 25%. This is the biggest complaint that we get, not only on Lincoln Way, but also on Indiana Avenue when they're shaking houses as they drive by. And again, be glad to talk to you one-on-one and listen and see your traffic studies that show that we have only a few trucks coming through from the south, from the north, and also not only what's happening today, but what the future holds. And again, we're always accused of being behind the times, never proactive, always reactive. And Nick Minnick has done a great job from his perspective of the corridor. And I encourage anybody that has concerns or questions to look at it, 362-2327, and show him. It's not your grandfather's corridor. This thing is, it's well constructed potentially to see as little breakup of homes or anything as possible, allow farms to still farm. So again, people hear the name and they just want to throw out, oh, this is waste, it won't work. Show me your traffic studies. We'll be glad to look at them. We'll show you our traffic studies and let's compare notes. But that's what it's being part of the solution versus just
the only thing outdated here in the city of LaPorte is Mayor Dermody's haircut. Let's be honest here. All right. A couple comments here online on our Facebook feed. Hey, and thanks so much for watching on Facebook. We just started putting this on Facebook. If you appreciate that, let us know, because, again, we'll do that for you if it matters. Danny Ramirez says, thanks for putting this online. Here's a question we received. Is there any plan to resurface the roadway around Fox Park? Thank you. Again, I think that's a question for a lot of people because it is getting worse, but there is a broader plan for that area, correct?
Truesdale Avenue, amazing. It is the worst road leading in some of the best parks that we have. Horrible. Thank you to the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte for allowing us to build and financially supporting, and Maria Fruit, the Clear Lake Loop that is happening. We also have the apartments that are going up, and you will see our goal, and I say our goal, is to have Truesdale from Marquette basically to McClung redone once the Clear Lake Loop is completed, so we're not putting in a new road and then having it damaged based on the construction of the Clear Lake Loop. And I'm telling you, I can't wait for it because Truesdale is a horrible road, and we are getting it addressed. Yes.
And we are going to invite city engineer Nick Minnick on the show here in the next week or two and get him on the show. And he could talk a little bit more in detail about the infrastructure projects, some of the timelines and things like that. Let's get to our final caller. Hello. Thank you so much for calling. Thanks for listening. We've got Mayor Dermody here in the studio. What's your question?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hey, Tom, on that bridge, what's going to be the approach? You're going to have to come back to Washington Street, or better to get your approach over that railroad tracks, aren't they? And then what's going to be the drop off to the other side there?
It'll be the drop off on the north side will be Furnace. You'll be able to get on it from Washington. It's not an overpass like we see in the middle of our community, but a much smaller one, and get over, without having to wait on the train.
All right. Here's a question we received on our text line. What project are you most excited about in 2022?
In 2022,
it's a great question, by the way.
Yes. Well, I really like the Clear Lake Boulevard. I love the spec building being finished at Thomas Rose, and hopefully have Beechwood Lakes some housing opportunities as well as other housing opportunities at the bakery, Timma Bakery, 701 Maple. That could still happen this year, but housing and more housing of all types.
All right, another text. When you came into office, you campaigned on developing Newport Landing, but everything that is in Newport Landing has started before you came into office. As retail development seems to be happening everywhere across the region, it's not as much here in LaPorte. What is the issue with Newport Landing? Is it the land, as some people have said, or is it the economic development team's approach to moving that land?
Well, I'll tell you this. Number one, there were no guarantees on, and we've had a lot of conversation back and forth with previous mayors, but nothing was set in stone. I'll be glad to share the details, the negotiations, everything that's happened on Newport Landing that we're responsible for, things that are still coming. You've heard about a grocer, and I will tell you, the process that has to take place, that was not aligned before I took office. It's been back and forth. We're still working on the process there that we think it's going to happen. We also have some other items and some announcements that we'll be making in Newport Landing, as well as Flaherty and Collins, which took a whole lot of people working together before guaranteed. So if you'd like to call me direct, 363-7293. I'd love to walk you through those processes that were completed before I got in office, but we do have more announcements as we move forward. And across the street from Culver's, with the little strip mall there, with Doc's Smokehouse that's coming by the end of the year. And again, be glad to share and talk about each of those projects and when they were finalized.
All right, our final question for you real quick comes from one of our texts here, and we've got some more, and we need to get you back on here again soon. But what is your favorite Burger King sandwich here? Our final question. And I'm going to guess this comes from our friend that's a Burger King manager, who also would want me to tell you that they are not, the Burger King over on the east side is not going away. They are just rebuilding it.
They are. And I would have to tell you, my favorite one, Dakota, is the Whopper Jr., light on the mayo, no lettuce, onion, and pickle.
All right, we've got some more questions coming in and all of these things. Why don't you give our final word? How can people contact you? What do you want our listeners to know?
Text me 363-7293.
And you really mean that,
I
correct?
do. I answer all the time. Sometimes I don't get as much time as I want to get an answer, but some people, I guess, feel uncomfortable that if they can be anonymous, they can let it rip. I've heard it all. So you can let it rip with me, but you can call me and I'll respond. I'm going to respond in the same fashion that people ask me in. And I try to be respectful, but if they choose not to, don't be offended if I respond in the same way. And sometimes people go, I'm going to put this on Facebook now that you're this. Well, I'm only responding in the same fashion that you are. We've got a lot of good things happening, a budget we're trying to finish up here. We've got a wonderful team, City of LaPorte. We are competing against the best. And then one last story, 39 North Conservancy District. That's something that in 2022 or earlier we have to address for our future. I'm excited to see how that comes out. So everybody have a great weekend. Don't forget Sunflower Fest, September 17th and 18th.
And tomorrow, you're going to be throwing out the first pitch, right?
Wiffle ball. And yes, wiffle ball. So please, everybody help.
Family advocates.
Family advocates, come out to Soldiers Field. There's stuff for kids to do. Our fire and police support one of them or both, but we're taking Michigan City down, and then as well as Guardian Riders over at the Fox Park Anthem. Here's some rock and roll. So what another great weekend in LaPorte.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for listening to the show today. Thanks so much for all of our participants for calling, commenting. I appreciate you. We're going to be back here on Monday. Thanks to our producer and editor filling in for Dennis Siddell this weekend, El Jefe Jeff Woogazer. And I want to thank you so much for listening. Share this podcast, share this feed with all the people you know. Keep them informed with what's happening here